Let's jump to this first story. Something interesting to kick off this greater conversation. The Daily Mail reports more than half of Democrats and Republicans believe America will cease to exist as a democracy, according to a new poll. They also go on to say, the poll found the majority of Republicans, 52%, say that it's likely there will be a civil war in the U.S. in their lifetime, while half of independents, 50%, and a plurality of Democrats, 46%, agree. The poll surveyed 1,541 adults and was conducted from June 10th, the day of the hearing, the January 6th hearing, until June 13th. It also found Americans have largely given up on one another. So before the show, you know, we normally what we would do is we pull up like the biggest, most relevant story and issues around it. And we decided we'd do something inverted. And we would talk with Dennis Prager about what's going on, why people are experiencing this first from your point of view, and then have that actually lead into the news stories as opposed to the other way around. So this is not the first poll we've seen where people think civil war is coming. We also had a poll that came out, or I should say a survey that came out from the SPLC, whether you trust them or not. I'm not a big fan. But it showed that the younger generation is more likely to support political assassination and revolution. My view is once the older generation ages out, as it were, either leaves the political fight altogether or passes on, the next generations are going to be increasingly more prone to violence, which ultimately will lead to civil war or violence. I'm curious as to your thoughts, why you think people feel this way, or what do you think is happening that's causing it?
So let me give you an example. And I don't know how this registers with you, because I remember when I was a kid and I would hear older people say, you know, when I was a kid, and I don't remember how I reacted. Either I reacted, oh, I'm very curious to know what it was like when you were a kid, or, gee, I've heard that before. But I'll take that risk. When I was a kid, there was one truly given in this country. You could say whatever you wanted. And I remember it because I grew up in Brooklyn, New York, and we'd play stickball. I have no idea if you even know what stickball is.
No, come on, you're not that old.
What, stickball? Oh, yeah, stickball.
They called it baseball. No?
Sorry?
They didn't call it baseball?
Well, of course it was baseball, but it was called stickball because you played with a stick. We didn't have a bat in the street. And it was a rubber ball.
What neighborhood in Brooklyn?
Flatbush.
Oh, nice.
Anyway, where the Brooklyn Dodgers were. So anyway, this is what would happen. Some kid would start screaming at another kid, and the other kid would go, oh, shut up. And then that kid would say, I could say whatever I want. This is America. That was a common rebuttal to anybody who said shut up.
We said that when we were kids.
Okay, so great, even better. So that's even better. All right. That is no longer said by kids. You could say whatever you want. This is America has been shattered by the left. And I just want to make something clear because I'll use the term left fair number of times. I don't believe that left and liberal are the same. I have 32 differences in one column, differences between left and liberal. People could easily look it up. Dennis Prager, differences between left and liberal. I did a PragerU video on it in 5 minutes. I'll just give you one example. Liberals believe in racial integration and leftists believe in racial segregation.
Agreed. Okay,
there's an all-black dorm at Columbia where I went. There's an all-black graduation at Columbia where I went. There are only two groups who support all-black dorms, leftists and the Ku Klux Klan. Just for the record, it's really important that people understand. Liberals don't support it and conservatives don't support it. So the ascendance of the left is the descent of all these freedoms, and that is the root of it. If they allowed us to be heard, we would not be confronting the possibility of civil war. We would change so many minds, but they make it almost impossible for us to be heard. And that is the great battle. That is why what Google, YouTube, Twitter, etc., what they have done is so injurious to the society.
It's a revolution. Their goal, as it was explained to me, is minimize the right just enough not to cause a splash, but to make them ineffective in politics.